Subscribe to support us and comment what we can improve. Now enjoy the story.
The alien warship's hull shuddered from a direct hit by Earth's defense batteries, the impact of nuclear-tipped artillery shells rocking the 2-mile-long vessel. Commander Rhaegor snarled as his claws dug into the metal of the armrest. He stared out the viewport at the blue-green marble floating before him. The human counterattack struck moments after his Tarkalian battle fleet exited hyperspace and accelerated towards Earth orbit. Atomic fireballs bloomed against his fleet's shields, the electromagnetic pulse flaring white-hot against the void. The human assault caught him off guard. Rhaegar grinned, baring razor fangs. Surprise or not, it made little difference. The Tarkalian Imperium's technological might dwarfed anything these apes could muster. Primitive atomic weapons. That's all they had. His ship's kinetic barriers absorbed the nuclear blasts with ease. His fleet's plasma cannons would boil Earth's oceans. Their graviton bombs would shatter tectonic plates. Then his soldiers would descend to butcher and enslave. In a matter of hours, this planet and its people would fall before the Imperium's unstoppable conquest. "Commander, we are receiving a transmission from the human planet," Sub-Admiral Zolak reported. "They wish to deliver a message before we commence our assault." Rhaegor sneered but waved a claw. "Very well. Put it on screen. Let's hear their pathetic pleas for mercy before we end their species and take their world." The bridge view screen flickered and a human male appeared, wearing a crisp suit, his white hair slicked back. Rhaegor expected to see fear in the man's eyes. Instead, the human looked directly at him and smirked. "I'm Roy Boyd, Chief Human Tarkalian Liaison," he said, his voice unwavering. "This is your first and final warning. Turn your ships around and run far away from Earth, because if you don't, we will utterly annihilate you and your entire Imperium." Rhaegor threw his head back and roared with laughter. The arrogance, the gall. Did this human really think empty threats would frighten the battle-hardened Tarkalian fleet? His bridge crew chuckled nervously, unsure what to make of the human's words. Rhaegor leaned forward, narrowing his eyes at the man on the screen. "You have spirit, human. I'll grant you that," Rhaegor growled. "But this system and your people are now property of the Tarkalian Imperium. No amount of posturing will change that. The only question is how many of you we kill versus enslave." Roy Boyd smiled wider and leaned back. "I was hoping you'd say that. Don't worry, what comes next will be quick." His eyes flashed as the transmission cut to black. A wave of disquiet rippled through the bridge, silence falling over the crew. Rhaegor felt his gut clench at the human's unnerving composure. The bridge lights flickered as power surged and alarms shrilled. Weapons locks wailed. Rhaegor's eyes widened as new contacts appeared all around his fleet, dropping out of FTL right on top of them. A final message broadcast on all channels. "Meet your gods. They want a word with you." In the heart of the Tarkalian royal palace, King Betazoid sat upon his throne, his aged face etched with concern. The Emergency War Council had been convened, the chamber echoing with the voices of the Empire's most powerful leaders. General Krax, a battle-scarred warrior, banged his hand on the table. "We must press the attack. The humans are bluffing. They cannot stand against our might." Prime Minister Valara, her eyes calculating, shook her head. "We know nothing of this Omega tech they speak of. It would be wise to gather more intelligence before we proceed." The debates grew heated, voices rising in anger. Prince Taran watched silently, his youthful face troubled. He had long harbored doubts about the wisdom of this invasion, but he held his tongue. On Earth, deep within a fortified bunker, Dr. Emmett Raven and his team of brilliant scientists worked feverishly. The Omega Tech, a device born of Dr. Lena Saurin's groundbreaking theories, was their last hope. They raced against time, calibrating, testing, pushing themselves to the brink of exhaustion. Dr. Saurin's hands flew over the controls, her brow furrowed in concentration. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. They could not fail. But even as they worked, a sinister presence lurked in the shadows. The Tarkalian infiltrators, led by the enigmatic operative known as Shadow, had breached Earth's defenses. They moved like ghosts, closing in on the scientist's location. A deadly game of cat and mouse had begun. In the Tarkalian throne room, King Betazoid's paranoia reached a fever pitch. He gave the order to deploy the behemoths, monstrous creatures bred for war. The gigantic beasts were loaded onto transport ships, their roars shaking the very ground as they hurtled towards Earth. The countdown had begun. The Omega Tech had to be deployed before the behemoths arrived. But with Shadow and his infiltrators closing in, time was running out. Dr. Raven's eyes met Dr. Saurin's across the lab. A silent understanding passed between them. They would not go down without a fight. The fate of Earth hung in the balance as the final pieces fell into place. In the depths of space, the behemoth transport ships tore through the void, drawing ever closer to their target. On Earth, the scientists worked with desperate urgency, racing to complete their task before the infiltrators could stop them. Two civilizations, locked in a struggle for survival. Only one could emerge victorious. The ultimate showdown was about to begin. Prince Taran's fingers hovered over the communication panel, his heart pounding. The encrypted message to Dr. Emmett Raven was ready to send. With a deep breath, he pressed the button. On Earth, Dr. Raven's datapad buzzed. His eyes widened as he read the message from the Tarkalian prince. "This can't be real," he muttered, showing it to Dr. Saurin. "It could be a trap," she warned, her brow furrowed. Raven nodded. "But if it's genuine, it could save billions of lives." As they debated, alarms blared through the facility. Shadow and her infiltrators had breached the outer defenses. "Initiate lockdown!" Dr. Saurin shouted, her fingers flying across the control panel. Blast doors slammed shut, temporarily containing the Tarkalian intruders. In the sealed section, Shadow snarled, her claws scraping against the reinforced door. "Find me an access point," she ordered her team. "We end this now." Meanwhile, Commander Rhaegor watched in disbelief as the behemoth transports entered Earth's atmosphere. "Impossible," he growled. "How did they know?" On the Tarkalian homeworld, King Betazoids raged. "Traitor!" he roared, smashing a holographic display of Prince Taran. "Execute his supporters! Crush this rebellion!" The royal guards hesitated, exchanging uneasy glances. Civil war loomed. Back on Earth, Commander Axel Reese led his team through the facility's ventilation system. They emerged behind Shadow's position, catching the infiltrators in a crossfire. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air. Shadow whirled, her reflexes inhuman. 3 human soldiers fell before her blades. Reese ducked behind a fallen console. "Concentrate fire!" he shouted. A hail of bullets forced Shadow back. She hissed in pain as one found its mark, dark blood oozing from her shoulder. In the lab, Dr. Raven and Dr. Saurin worked feverishly to modify the Omega Tech. Prince Taran's intel proved invaluable, revealing critical weaknesses in the behemoth's genetic structure. "Energy pulse calibrated," Dr. Saurin announced. "Ready on your mark." Dr. Raven hesitated, his hand poised over the activation switch. The weight of 2 civilizations rested on this moment. "Now," he commanded. The Omega Tech hummed to life. A wave of energy pulsed outward, invisible but all-consuming. In the skies above, the behemoths convulsed. Their massive bodies twisted and contorted, genetic structures unraveling. They plummeted from the clouds, raining destruction across the landscape. Commander Rhaegor watched in horror as his ultimate weapons disintegrated before his eyes. "All ships, attack!" he bellowed. "Crush them before they can strike again!" The Tarkalian fleet surged forward, weapons primed. Earth's defenses responded, filling the sky with atomic fire. In the facility, Shadow stumbled, wounded but still deadly. Commander Reese advanced, his rifle trained on her head. "It's over," he declared. Shadow's lips curled into a defiant snarl. "This war has only begun, human." As the final battle for Earth's survival approached, Dr. Raven turned to Prince Taran. "Can you help us unlock the Omega Tech's full potential?" The prince nodded gravely. "I will do whatever it takes to end this madness." Together they raced against time, knowing that the fate of both their peoples hung in the balance. The sky above Earth erupted in a dazzling display of plasma fire as Commander Rhaegor's fleet unleashed its full fury. Searing bolts of energy screamed through the atmosphere, striking major cities with devastating precision. New York's towering skyscrapers crumbled into dust. Tokyo's neon-lit streets vanished in a sea of flame. Rio de Janeiro's iconic Christ the Redeemer statue toppled from its perch, swallowed by the inferno below. In the underground facility, Dr. Raven's fingers flew across the Omega Tech's control panel. Sweat beaded on his brow as he input the final calculations. Prince Taran, we need the resonance frequency for your ship's shields? The Tarkalian prince's eyes widened. But that's classified. There's no time, Dr. Saurin shouted, her voice tinged with desperation. Billions will die if we don't act now. Taran hesitated for a split second before nodding. He rattled off a string of numbers, which Raven quickly entered into the system. Outside, Commander Axel Reese barrel-rolled his fighter, narrowly avoiding a barrage of alien energy weapons. His squadron had been reduced to tatters, the burning hulks of human ships littering the space around him. "This is Reese," he growled into his comm. "I'm the last one left. Those bastards are tearing us apart up here." A blast rocked his ship, alarms blaring as systems failed. Reese gritted his teeth, preparing for the end. The Omega Tech surged to life. A shimmering wave of energy exploded outward from the Earth's surface, engulfing everything in its path. Reese's eyes widened as the Tarkalian ships surrounding him suddenly went dark, their weapons falling silent. Commander Regor snarled in confusion as his bridge plunged into darkness. "What trickery is this?" he roared, clawing at unresponsive controls. On the planet below, humanity underwent a transformation beyond imagination. Dr. Raven gasped as his body began to dissolve, consciousness expanding to fill the cosmos. He felt the minds of billions joining him, merging into a singular, omniscient being. The ascended humans turned their attention to the paralyzed Tarkalian fleet. With a mere thought, they neutralized the alien weapons, rendering the once mighty armada helpless. King Betazoids paced his throne room, mad with rage. "Launch everything we have," he shrieked at his terrified subordinates. "I want that miserable planet reduced to ash." But his words fell on deaf ears. The Tarkalian people, witnessing the awesome power displayed by Earth, began to question everything they had been told about the primitive humans. As the last vestiges of their physical forms faded away, the newly godlike humans faced an unprecedented decision. Some, their minds still echoing with the anguish of Earth's destruction, called for the annihilation of the Tarkalian civilization. Others, swayed by Prince Taran's impassioned plea, advocated for a different path. "We have the power to reshape reality itself." Taran's consciousness resonated through the collective. "Let us use it not for vengeance, but to forge a new era of understanding between our peoples." The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance as the ascended humans deliberated, their cosmic forms shimmering with unimaginable power. The cosmic forms of the ascended humans shimmered with unimaginable power as they deliberated. Dr. Emmett Raven's consciousness expanded, touching the minds of billions. The weight of their collective decision pressed upon him. "We cannot simply eradicate them." Dr. Lena Soren's thoughts resonated through the collective. "We'd be no better than they were." General Kraus, a grizzled veteran whose mind still echoed with the screams of dying comrades, pushed back. "They came to annihilate us. We should return the favor." Commander Axel Reese, his fighter pilot's instincts translating seamlessly to this new form of existence, weighed in. "We have the power to reshape reality. Why not reshape them?" Prince Taran's consciousness pulsed with urgency. "My people can change. They must be given the chance." As the council debated, chaos engulfed the Tarkalian homeworld. The once mighty civilization teetered on the brink of collapse. King Betazoids, his opulent throne room, now dark and silent, raged at unresponsive communication panels. "Launch everything!" he shrieked, spittle flying from his lips. "Crush those human vermin!" But his words fell on deaf ears. The Tarkalian people, witnessing Earth's awesome display of power, questioned everything they had been told about the primitive humans. In a secret laboratory on the outskirts of the Tarkalian capital, Solara's eyes widened as she observed the effects of the Omega Tech rippling through her equipment. Equations and theories she had long pondered suddenly snapped into focus. This changes everything, she breathed, her six-fingered hands flying over her instruments. With a resigned nod to her confused assistants, Solara slipped out of the lab. She had to reach Earth to make contact with these ascended beings. It was their only hope. As Solara commandeered a small transport ship, a more sinister plan unfolded elsewhere on the Tarkalian homeworld. Commander Rhaegar, his face twisted with hatred, led a group of loyal soldiers into a hidden weapons facility. "The humans think they've won," he snarled, inputting override codes into a massive computer terminal. "We'll show them the true might of the Tarkalian Empire." Back on Earth, the Cosmic Council's debate reached a fever pitch. General Krause's consciousness flared red with anger. "We cannot show weakness. We must strike now, while they're vulnerable." Dr. Raven's form pulsed with a calming blue light. "We have the power to guide them, to help them evolve beyond this conflict. Isn't that the true test of our ascension?" Suddenly, a new presence made itself known. Solara's consciousness, still bound to her physical form but radiating with newfound understanding, touched the edges of their cosmic awareness. "Please," her thoughts echoed through the collective. "I come seeking wisdom, seeking a path forward for both our peoples." The council fell silent, their cosmic forms shimmering with surprise and curiosity. As they turned their attention to this unexpected visitor, alarms blared across the solar system. Commander Rhaegar's forces had activated their secret weapons, and a wave of destructive energy was hurtling towards Earth. The ascended humans faced a moment of truth. Would they use their newfound powers to obliterate this final threat? Or could they find a way to truly transcend the cycle of violence that had brought them to this point? As Solara's insights mingled with their own cosmic understanding, new possibilities began to unfold. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the actions of these ascended beings about to reshape the very fabric of reality itself. The cosmic forms of the ascended humans shimmered with curiosity as Solara's consciousness touched their awareness. Her mind, still tethered to her physical form, pulsed with a hunger for knowledge that resonated through the collective. "We will hear you," Dr. Raven's thoughts echoed, his essence glowing a soft blue. Solara's consciousness unfurled, revealing intricate theories and equations. "The Omega Tech has rewritten reality itself," she explained, her excitement palpable. "It's opened gateways to parallel universes, each brimming with untapped energy." General Krause's form flared red. "And how do we know this isn't a trap?" "Because I've seen it," Solara insisted. Images flashed through the collective, shimmering portals, glimpses of alien worlds, readings from Tarkalian instruments. Dr. Saurin's essence pulsed with interest. These energy sources, they could elevate our transcendence even further. "Exactly," Solara agreed. "But we need to study these pathways, map them." After a moment of silent deliberation, Dr. Raven spoke. "We'll dispatch exploration teams. But know this, Solara, any deception will be met with swift consequences." As cosmic tendrils of human consciousness spread across dimensions, chaos erupted on the Tarkalian homeworld. Commander Rhaegar's forces stormed the royal palace, their energy weapons carving swaths of destruction through ornate corridors. King Betazoids cowered behind his throne, flanked by loyal guards. "Hold them back!" he shrieked, his eyes wild with fear. The clash of weapons and screams of the wounded echoed through gilded halls. In the midst of the carnage, Queen Arala, her regal features set with willpower, ushered a group of civilians towards a secret passage. A stray energy bolt struck the ceiling above them. The Queen's body moved instinctively, shielding the innocents as debris rained down. She crumpled to the ground, dark blood seeping from a jagged wound. Prince Taran, light years away, felt a sudden stabbing pain in his chest. "Mother!" he gasped. With Solara's guidance echoing in his mind, Taran reached out with his newfound abilities. Space itself seemed to bend and fold around him. In a flash of cosmic energy, he materialized in the ruins of the palace throne room. Queen Arala lay amid the rubble, her breathing shallow. Taran cradled her head, tears streaming down his face. "I'm here, Mother," he choked out. The Queen's eyes fluttered open, a weak smile crossing her lips. "My son," she whispered, "you've become so much more than I ever dreamed." Her body shuddered with a final exhale, and Darren felt her life force slip away. A primal howl of anguish tore from his throat, shaking the very foundations of the palace. Rising to his feet, cosmic energy crackling around him, Darren's eyes blazed with righteous fury. He strode through the battle-scarred corridors, waves of power radiating from his form. Rhaegar's soldiers, caught in Darren's path, found their weapons suddenly inert. Some dropped to their knees in terror, while others fled in panic. Commander Rhaegar, his face twisted in a snarl, backed away as Darren approached. In a desperate move, he grabbed Kalara, the palace's chief scientist, pressing a blade to her throat. "Stay back," Rhaegar shouted, "or I'll spill her blood right here." Darren halted, his cosmic form flickering with indecision. "Let her go, Rhaegar. This madness ends now." Rhaegar's eyes darted wildly. "Tell me how you did it," he hissed. "How to travel between worlds. Give me that power, or she dies." On Earth, the human exploration teams returned, their cosmic forms pulsing with excitement. They shared visions of entire universes teeming with life and energy beyond imagination. General Krause's essence flared brightly. "With this power, we could conquer galaxies, spread human dominion across all of reality." Dr. Raven's form dimmed with concern. "We must be cautious. The consequences of wielding such power recklessly could be catastrophic." As the debate raged, a desperate plea cut through their consciousness. Prince Darren's anguished call for aid. The ascended humans found themselves at a crossroads, torn between cosmic responsibility and loyalty to their own kind. Dr. Saurin's thoughts rippled through the collective. "We have the power to end this conflict with a thought, but should we?" The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance as the ascended humans contemplated their next move. The cosmic forms of the ascended humans shimmered with tension as they grappled with Prince Darren's desperate plea. General Krause's essence flared a deep crimson. "We cannot intervene in every petty squabble across the cosmos," he argued, his thoughts reverberating through the collective. "Let the Tarkalians sort out their own mess." Dr. Raven's form pulsed with a soft blue light. "But we have the power to prevent further bloodshed. Surely that's worth considering." As the debate raged, alarms blared across their cosmic awareness. Commander Rhaegar, his face twisted with manic glee, input final launch codes into a massive computer terminal. Kalara, the chief scientist, struggled against her restraints. "You're insane," she shouted. "Those warheads could tear apart the fabric of reality itself." Rhaegar sneered. "Then the humans will learn the price of their so-called ascension." On Earth, Dr. Lena Saurin's essence flickered with sudden inspiration. "Wait," she broadcast to the council. "I have an idea." She unfurled complex calculations and theories, drawing on Solara's research. "We can create an interdimensional barrier," she explained. "It will shield Earth and contain the Tarkalian threat." General Krause bristled. "And leave us vulnerable to attack from other dimensions? Absolutely not." But the rest of the council, swayed by the urgency of the situation, voted to approve Saurin's plan. Commander Axel Reese's consciousness surged forward. "I'll lead a strike team," he volunteered. "We'll infiltrate the weapons facility and take out Rhaegar's forces from within." As Reese assembled his team, Dr. Saurin and her colleagues began the delicate process of calibrating the interdimensional barrier. They reached out across parallel universes, siphoning energy to power their cosmic shield. On the Tarkalian homeworld, Prince Darren materialized in the midst of chaos. Palace guards and loyalists rallied around him, their weapons seeming primitive compared to the cosmic energy crackling at his fingertips. "For the future of our people," Darren called out, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance, "we must stop Rhaegar." They fought their way through the battle-scarred corridors of the weapons facility. Darren's cosmic abilities sent Rhaegar's soldiers flying, their energy weapons sputtering uselessly against his shimmering force field. In the central control room, Rhaegar snarled as warning klaxons blared. "Launch now," he screamed at his subordinates, "before it's too late." But before they could comply, the far wall exploded inward. Commander Reese and his strike team poured through the breach, their partially ascended forms radiating power. Rhaegor grabbed Kalara, pressing a blade to her throat. "Stay back," he shouted, "or I'll—" His words were cut short as Prince Taran burst into the room, cosmic energy surging around him. In that moment of distraction, Kalara drove her elbow into Rhaegor's solar plexus. He doubled over, and Rhys's team swarmed him. As Rhaegor was subdued, Dr. Saurin's voice echoed through their minds. "The barrier is active," she announced. "Earth is safe, and the Tarkalian homeworld is contained." With the immediate threat neutralized, the Ascended Human Council turned their attention to the broader implications of their actions. General Krause's essence pulsed with barely held-back fury. "We should strip them of all advanced technology," he argued. "Keep them under our heel where they belong." Prince Taran, still reeling from the day's events, pushed back. "My people are capable of change," he insisted. "We've seen the consequences of our aggression. Give us a chance to forge a new path, together." The council chamber fell silent, cosmic forms shimmering as they contemplated the weight of their decision. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the very nature of their newfound cosmic power called into question. The council chamber hummed with cosmic energy as the ascended humans deliberated. Prince Taran's words hung in the air, a plea for understanding and cooperation. Dr. Raven's essence pulsed with a warm, inviting glow. "We have the power to reshape civilizations," he projected. "Let us use it not for dominance, but for true progress." General Krause's form flickered with reluctant acquiescence. "Very well," he conceded. "But we maintain oversight. One misstep and we intervene with full force." The council's decision rippled through the collective consciousness. Solara, still present at the edges of their awareness, felt a surge of cosmic energy flow into her being. Her physical form on the Tarkalian homeworld shimmered with newfound power. Solara stood before a crowd of weary Tarkalians, their faces etched with the toll of years under Betazoid's iron rule. "Fellow citizens," she called out, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "We stand at the threshold of a new era." The crowd stirred, a mixture of hope and skepticism rippling through their ranks. Solara raised her hand, and a holographic display materialized above her. It showed visions of a thriving society, clean cities, advanced technology, and Tarkalians of all castes working side by side. "This is not a dream," Solara declared. "With the humans' aid, we can build this future together." As her words spread across the planet, pockets of resistance began to form. In the industrial sector, workers laid down their tools. In the education centers, students and teachers alike rallied for change. King Betazoids paced in his opulent chambers, his face contorted with rage. "Traitors!" he spat, hurling a priceless artifact against the wall. "I'll crush this insurrection myself if I have to." He stormed towards the door only to find it blocked by his own royal guards. Their weapons were lowered, but their stance was unmistakable. "What is the meaning of this?" Betazoid snarled. The lead guard removed his helmet, revealing a face lined with determination. "Your reign is over, Your Majesty. We stand with Solara and the people." Betazoid's eyes widened in disbelief as the guard surrounded him. In that moment, the last vestiges of his power crumbled away. On Earth, Dr. Raven and his team began drafting plans for the new Tarkalian government. Holographic displays filled with complex societal models and cultural analyses. "We must be careful not to impose our own values too heavily," Dr. Saurin cautioned. "The new system must arise organically from Tarkalian culture." General Krause watched from the periphery, his cosmic form radiating skepticism. "I still say we're taking an unnecessary risk," he projected. "We should establish a permanent military presence on their world." Dr. Raven's essence flared with persistence. "No, Krause, we must give them the chance to chart their own course." As the framework for the new Tarkalian Federation took shape, not all embraced the changes. In a remote mountain fortress, General Krax gathered his loyalists. "The humans seek to strip us of our identity," Krax declared, his eyes blazing. "We will resist their puppet government and restore true Tarkalian rule." His followers cheered, raising their weapons in defiance. The seeds of insurgency were planted, a shadow looming over the fledgling Federation. Back on the Tarkalian homeworld, Solara stood with Prince Taran as they addressed the newly formed provisional government. The chamber buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "The path ahead will not be easy," Solara admitted. "But together, we will build a society that honors our past while embracing a brighter future." As she spoke, the cosmic energy within her pulsed, a constant reminder of the delicate balance they now walked. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with challenges both seen and unseen lying in wait. The newly formed Tarkalian Federation trembled with the aftershocks of revolution. Solara stood at the helm of the provisional government, her cosmic enhanced form a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Yet even as the first seeds of democracy took root, a shadow loomed on the horizon. In his mountain fortress, General Krax paced before a wall of flickering screens. Each display showed a different sector of the Federation, scenes of rapid transformation unfolding before his eyes. "Abominations!" he spat, smacking his palm against a console. "They strip away our very identity." A subordinate approached, datapad in hand. "Sir, we've intercepted communications. The humans plan to accelerate our evolution even further." Krax's eyes narrowed. "Then we strike now, before it's too late." On Earth, the Ascended Human Council convened in their ethereal chamber. Dr. Raven's essence pulsed with excitement as he laid out his proposal. "A targeted energy pulse," he explained, projections of parallel universes dancing around them. "We can jumpstart Tarkalian progress by centuries." General Krause's form darkened. "And if we lose control? Create a monster we can't contain?" "The risks are outweighed by the potential," Dr. Saurin interjected, her calculations shimmering in the air. "We have a chance to forge a true alliance built on mutual advancement." The council deliberated, cosmic energy swirling as opinions clashed. Finally, a consensus was reached. The cosmic catalyst would proceed. On the Tarkalian homeworld, the effects were immediate and staggering. Solara watched in awe as decrepit buildings crumbled and sleek structures rose in their place. Power grids hummed to life, pulsing with energy drawn from dimensions beyond comprehension. Prince Taran stood beside her, his eyes wide. "It's incredible," he breathed. "But will our people be ready for such change?" His question was answered by the surge of voices in the streets. Centuries of oppression seemed to melt away as the cosmic catalyst unlocked minds long shackled by fear and tradition. In a rundown factory district, a group of lowborn workers dropped their tools, staring at their hands as if seeing them for the first time. One of them, a young woman named Zira, felt knowledge flooding her consciousness. "We don't have to live like this anymore," she said, her voice trembling with newfound conviction. "We can build something better, together." The ripples of change spread rapidly. In the halls of academia, long-held dogmas crumbled in the face of cosmic truths. On the public forums, voices long silenced rose up, demanding equality and justice. But not all embraced the transformation. In his fortress, Krax watched the feeds with growing horror. "Enough!" he growled, turning to his assembled troops. "We end this madness now." Across the Federation, carefully planned strikes crippled key installations. Research centers erupted in flames, power stations went dark, and panic spread through newly enlightened populations. In the chaos, a small team of insurgents infiltrated a heavily guarded outpost. They moved with military precision, disabling security systems and neutralizing guards. Their target, Dr. Lena Saurin, caught off guard in the midst of calibrating the next phase of the cosmic catalyst. Alarms blared as Saurin was dragged away, her captors vanishing into the night. Within hours, Krax's ultimatum reached the Federation and Earth. Halt the cosmic catalyst, or watch the architect of their grand experiment die. In the war room of the provisional government, tensions ran high. Solara's cosmic form crackled with scarcely controlled energy as she faced down General Krause's projection. "We cannot give in to terrorists," Krause insisted, his essence pulsing in angry red. "And we cannot abandon Dr. Saurin," Solara countered. "There must be another way." As the argument raged, Commander Reese and Prince Taran huddled over a holographic display of Krax's mountain stronghold. Reese's fingers danced through the projection, tracing potential infiltration routes. It's a death trap, he muttered. Unless... Darren leaned in, his eyes lighting up as he grasped Reese's idea. Saurin's own research, he said. We could use it to... Exactly, Reese nodded, a grim smile spreading across his face. It's insane, but it just might work. As the clock ticked down on Krax's ultimatum, the two unlikely allies set their daring plan in motion. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the rescued scientist holding the key to their shared future. Commander Reese and Prince Darren materialized in a blinding flash of cosmic energy, their strike team materializing around them in Krax's mountain stronghold. The air crackled with ozone as reality stabilized, and for a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then chaos erupted. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air as Krax's guards opened fire. Reese dove behind a console, his partially ascended form absorbing hits that would have vaporized a normal human. Darren, find Saurin, he shouted over the din. The Tarkalian prince nodded, his cosmic enhanced senses probing the fortress's layout. He sprinted down a corridor, energy fields deflecting incoming fire. In a nearby holding cell, Dr. Saurin felt the tremors of battle. Her captor's attention wavered, and she seized her chance. With a swift kick, she knocked the weapon from one guard's hand and drove her elbow into the other's solar plexus. Alarms blared as Saurin raced through the corridors, her mind racing with the fortress's schematics she'd memorized during her captivity. She rounded a corner and collided with Prince Darren. Doctor, he exclaimed, we need to... The central bunker, Saurin interrupted. Krax's final fallback point. I can get us there. They fought their way through waves of insurgents, Darren's cosmic abilities clearing a path, while Saurin provided crucial intel on security choke points. They regrouped with Reese, and together, the trio pushed towards the heart of the fortress. The blast doors of the central bunker groaned open, revealing General Krax surrounded by banks of pulsing equipment. His eyes blazed with fanatical intensity. You're too late, he snarled, slamming his palm on a control panel. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing a countdown and schematics of devastating weapons. Interdimensional warheads, primed and ready. You have 1 minute to meet my demands, or I'll reduce this entire region to cosmic dust. Reese stepped forward, his hands raised. Krax, think about what you're doing. You'll kill your own people, everything you claim to fight for. Better oblivion than submission to alien influence, Krax spat. The timer ticked down mercilessly. 50 seconds. 40. Reese's mind raced, searching for a solution. 30 seconds. Prince Darren's eyes widened with sudden terrible clarity. He turned to Saurin and Reese, a sad smile on his face. Tell Solara. Tell her I'm sorry. Before they could react, Darren's form blazed with cosmic energy. He stretched out his hands, and an iridescent barrier materialized around the warheads. The air itself seemed to bend and warp as he poured every ounce of his power into containing the impending blast. No! Reese lunged forward, but it was too late. The warheads detonated in a silent, reality-warping implosion. For an eternal instant, the laws of physics ceased to exist within Darren's barrier. When normality reasserted itself, Krax and his inner circle had simply ceased to exist. And Prince Darren was gone. Where he had stood, only a fading shimmer of cosmic energy remained, dissipating into the ether like stardust on solar wind. In the stunned silence that followed, Saurin's voice cracked with emotion. He saved us. He saved everyone. Reese nodded, his partially ascended form dimming with grief. Come on, he said softly. We need to get you out of here. There's still work to be done. As they emerged from the fortress, news of Darren's sacrifice spread like wildfire. On the Tarkalian homeworld, crowds gathered in silent vigil. On Earth, the Ascended Human Council convened in solemn assembly. Dr. Raven's essence pulsed with a mix of sorrow and unease. We've wielded cosmic power as a tool for progress, he projected to his fellow council members. But at what cost? General Krause's form flickered with impatience. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good. We cannot falter now. As the debate intensified, Dr. Saurin materialized in the chamber, her newly ascended form radiating perseverance. She raised her hand, and a complex holographic model sprang to life before the council. "I have a proposal," she announced, her voice resonating with cosmic harmonics. "One that will change everything."
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.